Hey guys, it's Go here from Amen14, and I'm finally with you guys again for the profit guide video. I explained in another video that I already recorded it and edited this and everything. Unfortunately, my file would not convert out of my video editor. So here we are again. I'm going to go ahead and give it another try for you guys today. And to start off, I want to highlight the difference between the Prophet and the Dark Lord, and why as a mage you should always play Prophet. So the most important part of the Prophet, I would say, is the active skill energy regen, the prolong active skills, and primarily this Crane's Whisper here, this active skill. You'll be able to pretty much perma break any shields that you attack with your basic attacks. And so it pretty much negates all shielding in the game. It's extremely helpful, very useful, compared to the Dark Lord that you don't really have anything that is even remotely comparable, right? And so if you're going to play late game mage, please save yourself the trouble and just go Prophet. All right, guys, it's just going to save you a lot of trouble. So the primary requirements that you want to make Prophet functional. So what you really need, we're going to open my character panel here. And the first thing that you're going to notice is that my skill crit is pretty high. Now 77% isn't anything that's like super crazy, but it's definitely high enough to ensure that most of your skill usage is going to be a crit. You are going to proc your skill crit damage, and you are going to get maximum use out of your skills whenever they are off cooldown, as well as having the potential of doing the one-shot mechanic, which a lot of people have they understand it to a degree, but I'm going to highlight it, and I'm also going to show you a couple ways that you can counter it, as well as make it even more effective, right? And even work around the counter of the one-shot mechanic. So you want your skill crit 70% or higher, and you want your attack bonus. You can see it's above my final attributes that I more focus on, guys, when I'm doing my stats. So you can see that my attack bonus percentage is just way higher than my defense and my HP. And that's exactly what you want. You want your final attack or your attack bonus to be stupid high. Like stupid high, so that you can get the primary use out of your damage. And this is for the average Prophet user. I will touch on another build aspect that you can work on in the future in a video coming soon. But for the time being, in the present meta, and for a majority of players, non-whales, this is the way that you are going to want to build your Prophet. And you can notice here too also that I have a 30% attack speed bonus. And that is coming from using the Hero Bird Pal. And this is your bread and butter for how you are going to pull off the one-shot mechanic. It is going to increase your cast speed of your skills. So if your enemy doesn't have it, you will be proccing your skills before your blitz. I'm sure that you have dealt with it in the past, and it is not a surefire way to counter it, right? So if you look at their character panel and they have more attack speed than you or equal attack speed than you, you can actually RNG it with your stun percentage here. And mine's pretty low. 20% is not very good at this point in the game. But if they don't have a lot of stun ignore, and you can proc it off of your basic attack. So in essence, when a PvP fight starts, there is one basic attack that goes off before your skills will be used. And if you can get a stun to proc off of that basic attack, you will delay their skill usage. And regardless of if they have Hero Bird Pal, or if you have Hero Bird Pal actually, you can stun them, delay their blitz, proc your skills all at once first, and it's a quick GG. For your attack statue, this is following suit for what I was speaking of before. with having a high final attack stat. You want to use a full global attack statue at the moment. There is another option, like I said, I will touch on in a future video. But for right now, I am focusing on what is useful for a majority of the player base in the moment for PvP with the mage using the Prophet. So for your gear, you of course want to try to get as much skill crit as possible. You can see here that I'm not really sacrificing much skill crit besides on my weapon and my belt. So that's, kind of how I mentioned. It's not as high as it can be. You can get around 84, 85% skill crit. But, I've touched on in videos previously that about 75%, 80% is your Goldilocks zone. Everything above that with your percentile stats faces a little bit of diminishing returns in terms of you overly investing into it. So you will want your stun and skill crit. And here we have our relics. So pretty much what I'm normally using. I do like to use the Stone Writ Tome to get some combo and counter res, which is very useful at this point in the game. But your primary relics that you want to be using is your Demon Mask, your Thundercaller Kite, and your Time Statue. So for your pet, I highly recommend the Pumpkin Witch, because when you're using your skills, you will get additional skill damage, kind of similar to your Thundercaller Kite. And it works really good with this skill set here. So basically this design is to one-shot your enemy. And if for some reason you don't, then your Batty Trace plus your Pumpkin Witch might be able to do the job for you, or at least do a substantial amount of damage in the process of that. For your Awakening, following suit with what I mentioned before, my global attack seal is pumped to the high heavens, whereas my others are kind of lackluster. Even the skill damage is kind of down, because your skill damage is doing a multiplier of your attack stat anyway. So you're kind of working top down in that regard. And for the pals, once again, I'm focusing on the Hero Bird, the Treasure Dragon. The Treasure Dragon is essential. The Prince Cat, the Fiery Tail, and I'm kind of on the fence about the Hipster Tortoise. I like it just in case I don't one-shot someone and I can survive for more skill cooldowns. I'm sure that'll be a little up in the air for you guys, but there's always Hydro Sprite and Angel Deer as perfectly good options that you can also use for that slot. And for my enchants here, so we have mostly, this one's, I can't get a good replacement for this. So I will say the most vital one that you need. There is one enchant you absolutely need. That is slot 4. You want skill damage. And if you can get skill damage, skill crit, and stun, then you are in the money. You will do very well with that. But as a base requirement, go for your skill damage. And you can see here that we have our 500% from that. We're getting 6% stun off of our enchants and 29.27% skill crit damage. So overall, that's kind of the stats that you're looking for on your artifact enchants. For your souls, you really want to focus, once again, your global attack. You want to pump it to the high heavens so that you have the maximum damage that you can get off of your skill usage, because you have to wait for cooldowns, whereas the archer and the warrior do not. They have combo and counter. I have some global HP here to help me survive, and then I have the crit damage soul here for more skill crit damage. Finally, for my skills, I want to touch on this really quick. You always want to be using Blitz. You want to use Disarm with your Time Statue. I've heard some people are kind of on the fence about Smoke Bomb. I personally like it, but some people like to use Blade Pierce. But as for requirements here, I would say Star Array. You're going to get your skill crit rate and skill crit damage from this. You are going to, of course, get your immunity out of Blitz. That's a requirement for PvP. This, in conjunction with your passive and your time statue, is going to make it virtually unplayable for people that don't have CC reduction. And your baddie skill is going to help finish off targets that somehow survived the one-shot mechanic. So as for a build showcase here, I have a couple of tickets here that I will use in some fights. I will see if there's anybody that I can one-shot. So here it's we're both 53 million, but you can see here, you know, I did 60-70% of their HP right off of the jump, and then Baddie Trace with the Pumpkin Witch Flying Pet finished it off very nicely. So here we have another person, 52.6 mil, and they have bats, so it's not good for us, right? Or sorry, they have Hero Bird. It's not really the best, but Baddie Trace finishes it out. So it's a very quick fight overall. Let's try Tigger here. Again, about 60-70%. The one-shot mechanic is still possible. However, the white gear made it pretty difficult, right? With all the extra HP and the fact I'm not a whale. And a lot of people are still playing Archer, so you really want that baddie skill. I mean, it's really one shot still if you think that it's just one skill in conjunction with the Pumpkin Witch Flying Pet. So see, you got basically one shot, and that is pretty much how it goes with this build. It's very quick and easy. I know these people aren't super high in power at the moment, but this is pretty much the easiest way to climb the arena rankings at the moment, even if they're an archer, even if they are using Hero Bird. It really doesn't make much of a difference most of the time. There's your standard one shot there. We'll try a couple more. There we go. And finally, let's try on Max here. There we go. So we got a couple one-shots in. We got a couple of Baddie Trace examples here. We'll do one more against another mage. Or maybe she isn't mage right now. Maybe she's in a PvE, or who knows. So should have double-checked that one. Anyway, that's how the build goes, right, guys? And for the last requirement of this build, that would be the Cloud Drifter mount. And that is because of the 10% skill crit rate that you'll get on your base stats, along with a 20% attack boost that will work in conjunction with all your other global attack skills. And if you guys need help getting these rush tokens, I know if you are dealing with what I have been dealing with on my server, it's pretty difficult to get them, right? And so I would highly recommend AppGallery. They have some great cashback rewards and vouchers that you can get for whaling out on the game. You can use them for a decent way of topping up for rush events, for working with your spinner events and getting your spinner gear, as well as any other spending that you might want to do in Legend of Mushroom. And the way that their cashback works is that, you know, maybe 1 month you want to spin and maybe the next month you don't want to. They will have cashback rewards that will be in your AppGallery app, and you can use those maybe if you're taking a month off of your debit or your credit card or whatever you may be using to make purchases. They are a legitimate partner of Legend of Mushroom, and quite a few of my viewers have enjoyed using their service, and they have thanked me for the offers that they have. However, I would like to mention that it is most convenient for people in the European servers to use AppGallery because of external reasons not related to AppGallery or Legend of Mushroom. So, you guys, this is a required mount that you will need to use. So you have the Cloud Drifter, you have a high attack bonus, you have this skill set, this PAL set, and this Treasure Dragon is a requirement to get a total of 30% skill crit rate. And please remember that you want 75% skill crit to make a build like this viable. And there will be more guides coming in the future very soon. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.